person wants to travel from New Delhi to Paris, what must be the way? Very easy to take a flight, right? Yes. But we know that the food consists of nutrients. And how these nutrients are going to reach our cells? Oh, who is going to carry that? Yes, we know, right? The answer is blood, right? So, blood is going to carry the nutrients from our food to all parts of our body. But why is it so essential to learn about blood today? Because we are going to learn about the transport that happens within our body itself. So let's get started. And we are back with an amazing rapid recap session on the topic called transportation in plants and animals. So I am Aishwarya Sindhu Ramachandran and I will be a science educator today. So let's get started. Please have a notebook and a pen along with you so they can note down the important points as we are going to discuss multiple concepts today. And if you find any kind of doubts in between, please don't hesitate to ask your doubts in the comment box so that I will resolve it for you. So let's get started. And here we are going to start off with the main contents that we will be learning today. So look at it. There are 4 main concepts starting from circulatory system, excretory system, excretion other organisms, and finally transportation in plants. So these are the basic 4 concepts that we will be learning today. The first most thing that we are going to learn today is all about the circulatory system. So what is meant by circulatory system? So circulatory system is nothing but an organ system that helps the nutrients to reach different parts of our body. Very simple. So you can write down the points, very important. So the basic function of our circulatory system is nothing but the transport of materials. But what are the different types of materials that get transported? Nutrients, oxygen and carbon dioxide. But when you talk about circulatory system, it's very essential to talk about the basic parts associated with it. So it consists of heart, blood and blood vessels. Now we are moving towards the next concept and look at it. Oh, it's all about the blood. Blood is a fluid that carries nutrients, oxygen and carbon dioxide. So not only that, it also carries waste products from different cells. And look at it. We are going to talk about the basic components in blood. So blood consists of mainly 2 components. What are they? Fluid components and cellular components. So fluid component is nothing but plasma. But when you talk about cellular components, there are mainly 3. What are they? RBC, WBC and platelets. So these are considered as various cellular components of blood. And now we are moving towards the next one. It's all about plasma in detail. So what is plasma? I told you that it's nothing but a fluid component. But what is the percentage? 95% of the blood consists of plasma. So please take down, very important. And this consists of dissolved nutrients, carbon dioxide and oxygen. Now we are moving towards RBC. So what is RBC? What is RBC? Red blood corpuscles, right? Or you can say that red blood cells. So red blood cells that can transport oxygen. Oh my God, that's a very important thing, right? Yes. So we know that the reason behind the color of red blood is nothing but hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is responsible for its red color. So that's what about RBC. And now we are moving towards WBC. So WBC is nothing but white blood cells. So white blood cells are considered as soldiers of our body. Why so? Oh, they are going to fight against the germs. So if there is a germ or if there is a foreign body that enters into our body, who is going to fight against them? It's nothing but the WBC. And that is what the reason white blood cells are considered as the soldiers of our body. And now we are going to talk about platelets. Imagine that you get a cut on your hand. What happens next? Oh, blood starts to flow out, right? Yes. But there must be someone to help out to prevent the blood loss. So who is that? It's nothing but the platelets. So if there is a wound, the platelets run and reach a place and prevent blood loss. So that's what the function of platelets. They actually prevent blood loss and therefore they're responsible for blood clot. Please write it down. Very important. They're responsible for the blood clot and loss of blood can be prevented by these platelets. And now we are moving towards the next one. And this is all about blood vessels. And what are these blood vessels? So we know that blood has to flow through certain tubes. So these tubes are nothing but the blood vessels. So when you talk about blood vessels, there are mainly 3. What are they? Arteries, veins and capillaries. So now we are moving towards the next one. It's all about the very first one, arteries. So arteries are considered as blood vessels that can carry oxygenated blood. Please don't get confused. Oxygenated blood means oxygen-rich blood. It consists of more oxygen. So these blood vessels carry oxygenated blood from heart to other parts. Please don't get confused. It's very important. So I'm going to create a small code for you. AHC. So arteries carry blood from heart to cells. That is why AHC means. Similarly, when you talk about veins, veins carry deoxygenated blood. What is meant by deoxygenated blood? It is carbon dioxide rich blood. So this will be carried from cells to heart. Veins actually carry deoxygenated blood from cells to heart. So VCH is a code for it. Got it? I hope everyone is clear. And now we are moving towards capillaries. So what are these capillaries? Capillaries are fine network of blood vessels that help in the exchange of materials. And I hope everyone is clear with it. And now we are moving towards the next one. It's all about heart. So who is heart? It's nothing but the blood pumping organ of a human body. So please write it down. And if you talk about the basic 4 chambers of heart, there are 4 in number. What are they? So let me break it down for you. We have to divide into 2 parts first. The upper chambers and the lower chambers. So the upper chambers are known as atria. Write it down, atria. Similarly, the lower chambers are known as ventricles. Write it down. These are known as ventricles. So the upper chambers are known as atria and the lower chambers are known as ventricles. Again, we have to divide based on right and left. So the upper right chamber is known as a right atrium and the lower right chamber can be called as right ventricle. Similarly, when you come to the left part, the upper chamber is known as left atrium and the lower chamber is known as left ventricle. So please don't forget the terms. And now we are moving towards the next one. Acronyms. So acronyms are very much essential to learn the blood flow that happens right inside our heart. And that is why we are learning all these. So RA represents right atrium. RV represents right ventricle, LA represents left atrium, LV represents left ventricle. Similarly, OB represents oxygenated blood, whereas DB represents deoxygenated blood. So please write down these terms. Coming to this side, I'm going to show you how different kinds of blood is actually flowing through all these blood vessels. So the very first one, VC represents vena cava, which is nothing but a vein. So what type of blood carried by the veins? It's nothing but the deoxygenated blood. So AA is nothing but aorta, which is going to carry oxygenated blood. Okay, but there is an exception here. Pulmonary artery alone carries deoxygenated blood. Similarly, pulmonary vein which carries oxygenated blood. Arteries carry oxygenated blood except pulmonary artery. All veins carry deoxygenated blood except pulmonary vein. That's it. And I hope everyone is clear. And now we are moving towards the next one. It's all about the circulation that happens right inside our heart. So we are going to start off with the very first point. It's nothing but body. So from body, the deoxygenated blood, that means the CO2 rich blood is going to reach right atrium first. Please write down, very important. So through vena cava, veins are carrying deoxygenated blood towards right atrium first. Okay, so from right atrium, the blood is going to get squeezed into right ventricle. So this is a second position and third position. Okay, got it? And now from right ventricle, it is going to reach lungs. That's the fourth position. But how it is happening? Deoxygenated blood will be carried by pulmonary artery towards lungs. And from lungs, it is going to reach left atrium via pulmonary vein. And what will be carried by pulmonary vein? It's nothing but oxygenated blood. Okay. So here the blood has reached left atrium. And from left atrium, the blood is again gets squeezed into left ventricle. So this is a sixth position. From sixth position, here the blood is going to reach the body back through aorta. So aorta carries oxygenated blood to body. Clear? I hope everyone is clear with the points. So it starts from right atrium, gets squeezed into right ventricle, and from there it is taken to lungs for the oxygenation, and from there the oxygenated blood is going to reach the left atrium, and from the left atrium it is going to reach left ventricle, and from left ventricle through aorta it is going to reach all the body parts. Clear? Very, very simple. And now we are moving towards the next one. It's all about pulse. So what is maybe pulse? You might have experienced it, right? When you touch here, when you touch your neck, you might have experienced this for sure. It's nothing but the periodic expansion and contraction in which a blood pumps into your arteries. So please take down is a contraction and expansion of heart to pump blood into your arteries. And now moving towards excretory system. And what is meant by excretory system? So we know that there are a lot of metabolic activities that happen right inside a human body. So through this, there are a lot of waste products also will be formed. But these waste products cannot be stored or accumulated in our body. These have to be eliminated from our body on time. Otherwise, this can be toxic. So that's where the excretory system works. The system which is responsible for the removal of waste products from our body can be called it as excretory system. And which is the organ responsible for it? Kidney. So kidney is responsible for excretion, and urine is the waste product that has formed by the kidney. And similarly, when you talk about urine components, 95% of urine is consisting of water and 5% consisting of nitrogenous waste. And similarly, when you talk about nitrogenous waste, urea, ammonia and creatinine are the components. And other substances are nothing but potassium and sodium. So please take down the notes. These are very, very important. And now we are moving towards the structure of kidney. The kidney is responsible for filtering out the blood, nutrients will be absorbed and the waste products will be removed. Clear? And now we are going to learn the structure of it. So here you can see that there are two bean-shaped structures, and these structures are known as kidneys, and there are two tubes coming out of it. So these tubes are going to carry urine from the kidneys towards urinary bladder. So this sac-like structure can be called it as urinary bladder. Urinary bladder is a sac-like structure where the urine gets collected temporarily. Got it? So this is a temporary urine storage area, and now it's a time to eliminate the urine from the body. So this happens through urethra. Got it? So take down the notes, and now we are moving towards kidney failure. What if our kidneys won't work well? We know that blood doesn't get filtered out. All the waste products are going to get accumulated in our body, and therefore these are going to create a lot of toxins, and this is very bad for our health. So what must be the solution? Dialysis. Dialysis is nothing but an artificial way of eliminating the waste products from our body. How? There is a machine called dialyzer. So dialyzer, which takes a person's blood, filters it out, and the filtered blood will be taken back to the person's body. Clear? So this is a method that we use in this dialysis. And now we are moving towards next one, excretion in other organisms. When you talk about fishes, ammonia is the primary waste, and when you talk about birds, uric acid is the primary waste product that gets excreted. And now we are moving towards transportation in plants. So here you can see that there are two vascular tissues that we have to talk about. The first one is xylem, which transports water and other nutrients from roots to other parts. So it's a one-way transport. So please understand. Similarly, when it comes to the part of phloem, this is a two-way transport. What does it mean? The food will be produced in leaves during photosynthesis. So this food has to be transported throughout the parts of the plant. Correct? So this will be done by phloem. Clear? And now we are going to talk about transpiration. So what is meant by transpiration? It's nothing but the loss of water as water vapor from stomata. So if there is a high rate of evaporation due to high temperature, what happens? More and more water vapor will be released through stomata. So now we are moving towards excretion in plants. So there are gaseous wastes such as carbon dioxide, and this will be formed on respiration, whereas oxygen also will be formed on photosynthesis, and water vapor also will be formed. But what are the other wastes? Gum and latex also considered as different excretory products of plants. And that's what about it. And here we are going to the summary part of it. So we have completed all 4 parts: circulatory system, excretory system, excretion in animals, and finally transportation in plants. And now we are moving towards the end of the session, and we'll see next class with an amazing session similar to this. Have a nice day and goodbye everyone.